All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Moments with McClellan. We are here with one of my fellow freshmen, another history maker, Maxwell Frost of Florida.
Hello, good to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, thank you. And tell everybody what district you represent.
So I represent Florida's 10th Congressional District, which is Central Florida, Orlando, Florida, and it's actually where I was born and raised.
Oh, great. I'm representing the district I was born and raised in, too. So
awesome.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a history maker. You're a history maker. I think everybody knows, but for the ones that don't, you are the first Gen Z member of Congress. So what advice, as the spokesperson, kind of, not really, no, they say that all the time, but what advice do you have for your fellow Gen Z Americans on why they should care about what you're doing in Congress?
Yeah, well, I think all young people should care about politics, right? And there's that saying, like, all politics is local. You might not do politics, but politics is going to do you, right? Because it's the decisions that decide the way we live our lives, the opportunity we'll have, the safety that we have. And I think we have a vested interest, especially as young people who will continue to grow up in this country, possibly raise kids in this country, build wealth in this country, to have a say in what's going on. Because here's the thing, if we don't step into the power, other people will.
That's right.
There might be people who don't have our best interests at heart. So that's why it's so important for young people to step up and be involved, whether it's running for office, being an advocate, an organizer, an artist that's working at shaping culture to get people involved. All of it's important.
It takes all kinds. And I tell people, we've heard since we were kids that this is a government by, of, and for the people. And to me, that means that government's only going to reflect the perspective of and therefore meet the needs of the people who participate.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Having your perspective, first of all, is very refreshing, but is also critically important. So glad to have you here and to be a classmate.
Thank you, yeah.
But we have some pretty long weeks, sometimes heavy weeks here in Washington. So at the end of a week, what do you like to do to decompress?
Ooh, to decompress. Well, I go to concerts a lot. I'm a musician. So I like to go to a lot of shows. So definitely a concert or practicing myself at home. I have my drum set up at home in Orlando. So I typically take an hour a day on the weekends to practice, or cooking. I like to cook. Those are the things I like to do, or go out to eat. I'm like a foodie, so my partner and I like to go out and try all the new restaurants in Orlando, which Orlando actually last year for 2 months in a row, we were the fastest growing region for new restaurants and bars for 2 months in the country. So we have a lot of new places that I'm still trying to catch up. So always going out to eat, trying new places.
That's awesome. Well, we got to get you to Richmond because we're a foodie town too.
All right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as you said, you are a drummer and you performed at President Obama's second inaugural, which is pretty cool.
We had him dancing some salsa.
That was a cool moment. So if you were going to start a band here in Congress, what would you call it?
I was talking about this earlier with someone from my staff. She had mentioned maybe the Frosty Boys, That's okay. It's a good one, I guess. Frosty Boys. It's a little too literal, though. Maybe, that's a good corny one. If I were to think of a... So I had two bands before.
Okay.
One, it was a salsa band called Seguro Que Si.
Okay.
Seguro Que Si, in Spanish and really in, Cuban Spanish, is hell yes or heck yes.
There you go.
So that was my salsa band. And then my rock band was called The Charter. I don't know where that name came from. It's not deep at all. We just came up with it. We wanted the something.
Yeah.
So we came up with that one.
There you go.
Those are two actual band names I've been in.
Okay. All right. And I have seen him perform here with our colleague Darren Soto.
Oh, yeah. Darren.
Yeah. So he's pretty good, actually.
We're working on a song together, too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
cool. You heard it here first. Yeah. Speaking of songs, what's your walkout song?
My walkout song during my campaign, at a lot of our rallies, was All Right by Kendrick Lamar or Do I Do by Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Which I love that song because it's like Stevie fully, but the vibe of that song kind of reminds you of Earth, Wind, and Fire too.
Yeah.
With the horns and everything, and I grew up on that music. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Mine was Girl on Fire.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so when we're in Washington, we've had some days where we're stuck here waiting to vote or waiting to elect a speaker or just sitting around waiting. What do you, how do you like to fill your time when we have downtime here in Washington?
Depends how much downtime. If it's like we're here for a few days because Republicans can't get their stuff together and we're trying to must pass legislation, concerts again. Washington D.C. is such a really good music scene and such a good local concert and music venue scene. So I've been to pretty much all of them at this point and love to go out and visit them. But if not that, love to eat some great food in DC. You'll see a pattern, music and food. Those are kind of the only two things I do. I also like to scooter around DC too.
Oh yeah.
And I recently, a few months ago, I had an event at a college that was like in the north part of DC. And a lot of times my staff will like clown me about this, but I'll take a scooter to go somewhere, even if it's really far. So I did like a 45-minute scooter ride on the Metropolitan Bike Trail, I think it's called, the MBT, which was super cool. And I love doing that. So a lot of times I'll actually take the scooter and just go up and down that. Or like they have bars along it too. So maybe I'll stop and get like a beer or something.
That's pretty cool.
That's fun. So if you ever want to go scootering, let me know.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing we're not in August because I don't think you want to be on a scooter.
In August? Yeah, true. I am from Florida though, so I'm used to bad weather.
You are, but the humidity here is different.
Than Florida?
Yeah, maybe some parts of Florida, but it's like it's a swamp.
Yeah. We're a swamp. We have in the summer we'll have 95 to 100% humidity.
Yeah, but I don't know. To me, Orlando heat and Washington heat are different.
Different. All right, we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know, but you're in the happiest place in the world in Orlando, so
you
don't mind it as much. And I've been there. I've been to many places in Florida in August, and I'd rather be in Florida in August.
Than good to know.
DC.
Yeah, hopefully we're supposed to have a bad hurricane season this year. Hopefully it doesn't happen, and so August is one of those months. It's like, ugh. But we'll be home the whole month. So.
We'll be home the whole month. All right. So speaking of amusement parks, this is a controversial one, maybe.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite amusement park in Orlando?
Well, we have 3 great big amusement parks in Orlando. We have SeaWorld, Disney, and Universal. The only one that's in my district is Universal. The other ones are right by my district. We have a ton of Disney workers in it. So by default, I'll say Universal, but also of the 3, that's the one I have a year pass to. And the reason why, all the parks are great. I love theme parks. My girlfriend and I go to ones around the country too. We're like obsessed. But we love Universal because in Orlando we have some of the best rides in the country. And our favorite is Velocicoaster, which is a multi-launch coaster. And so we love Universal.
Well, my husband and I went to Disney World, I think 4 times before we had children.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're big.
Have you been recently?
The last time we went was 2018.
2018.
My daughter was turning 3.
3? Okay, so, cool.
And then we need to go back because now she's 9.
You need to go back. Yeah, 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go back because Disney has a new ride that really impressed me called Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually one of the coolest rides I've ever been on in my life.
Okay.
I mean, it's really unique. It's really special, artistic. And the cool thing is there's 6 songs that they rotate, and so you get a different song each time.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's really cool. It's good music.
That's cool. Yeah. That is really cool. Okay, so we are both freshmen. What was the biggest adjustment for you coming to Congress?
The biggest adjustment has to be the schedule.
Yeah.
And the schedule, not in terms of just being busy, because before this I worked on campaigns. So like being busy is something I've been used to, but the type of busy is different, even from the campaign. And you're more used to this than me because you were in the legislature. But on campaigns, like when I was working, I worked in field, so I really had like an objective and a way to get to it. It was a lot of work on a set amount of things. Here, it's a lot of work on like a million things that take different brain power and different brain capacity. So I always joke on the campaigns, I'd get home and I'd be exhausted. Now I get home and I'm exhausted and my head hurts from thinking so much. So I'm getting used to that and the flying back and forth too. I've been sick so much over the last 2 years with upper respiratory problems because I think of that flying and that kind of thing. So I'm still getting used to it. taking vitamins and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think people don't realize just the logistical issues that we have to go through just to come to work.
Yeah, I feel like a good fix that would help modernize and make us more efficient is just having longer periods of session where we just stay and work even throughout the weekends. So we're not going back and home through at the weekends. We get more done in a longer amount of time, and then we go home and we're home longer too.
Yeah.
Because we spend so much time on airplanes, and I'm only 2 hours away, but I can't, Jill Takuda is a 24-hour plane ride. She a lot of time on an airplane.
Yeah, lots of time. Okay, so what's your favorite childhood memory?
Ooh, I have many. I'll say one of my favorites is my dad's a musician, and so I grew up with a lot of music in the house. And when I got old enough and I started playing the drums, he would bring me out to gigs with him.
Oh, nice.
And I wasn't like on the gig officially, but he would set up my little station. And as I got older and I kept getting new drums, my station would be more and more like legit, and I'd feel for real. So at first, there's even videos on YouTube my dad put. It's just me and like a cowbell, you know what I mean? And then as I got older, I'm 12 or 13, I have congas and the cowbell, I have a little station. And I felt like a real working musician. And then I started actually getting hired as I became a teenager. So that was really some of my favorite memories. And now my dad's starting to retire more. And so he's not doing as many gigs anymore. So it's really become more of like a childhood memory.
That's awesome. Yeah. That is awesome. And do you have a favorite book? Or author?
Yeah, no. I read this book that went viral on TikTok. It's a autobiography. I think it's a memoir. It's called Crying in H Mart, and it's very short, and a lot of people are reading it. And it's by, I forget her last name, but her first name is Michelle. She's an artist named Japanese Breakfast, and I really got into her like about a year ago and became obsessed with the music. And watched every interview one night. It was actually here, like after votes. And then she was like, "Oh, I wrote a memoir," and I bought it immediately. And I just read it recently, and I really enjoyed it too. It's a lot about identity and her relationship with her mother. I was adopted at birth, so identity is a big part of my life, and so I really connected with it. So
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a short read. It's an easy read, but it's nice.
Okay, all right. So we're both on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee. If you had the chance to travel in space, would you?
Yes. And actually, now that you ask, I have a campaign I'm running. So, and I'm serious. Like, I'm actually trying to make this happen. So, NASA used to send members of Congress to space.
Yeah.
The last time it happened was in the 80s. A lot of people don't know Administrator Nelson. He's an astronaut, but a lot of people think he was like an astronaut in NASA. Technically he was a member of Congress and the last person to do the program.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so he was the last person to do the program, and they stopped it after him because of the explosion. That happened just a few weeks after.
Yeah.
So I went up to him when I first got here, and I was like, "You should restart the program, and I want to do it." And I'm like, legit.
Well,
so I have this campaign running. I'm trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon, but maybe in the future. But I would go to space. Where would I mean, like with current technology, I'd probably just do a little lower Earth orbit. But where would I go? I mean, Mars would be cool.
Mars would be cool.
Which we're working at, and which will happen at some point. But I don't know if I'll be on there.
Yeah. Well, my son wants to be an astronomer.
Oh, really?
So maybe you can go and collect some data that he can then.
Yeah, or y'all should come out to Kennedy Space Center and come see a launch.
We would love to do that.
Oh, yeah, we'll set it up.
For
sure, we'll do it.
What is something people would be surprised to learn about you? I've learned a lot. Some I knew, but what would really surprise people?
I don't know, this might not surprise some people. I was a troublemaker when I was little. Like, I got in trouble all the time. Yeah.
There's like a glint in your eye. Yeah. As a fellow troublemaker, I made trouble.
Yeah. Now I'm in good trouble, I used to, get in trouble all the time. Nothing like seriously bad, but I would just, or I just like to make people laugh, And so I actually ran into one of my old teachers from like 6th grade in the store a few years ago when I was running, and she was like, I was going through the 6th grade detention booklets, which I was like, why were you doing that? But she was going through the detention book, and she told me, you spent like 90% of your 6th grade in detention.
Aww.
But she was like, it was just you talking in class all the time.
So I especially elementary school,
Mhm.
I got in trouble because I just would not shut up.
Yeah, yeah. And now our job's to not
It's
shut
just
up
to not shut
for the
up.
people. So
we
there we
were
go.
practicing really early. All right, we're gonna do the lightning round now. Favorite superhero?
Miles Morales, which
Okay.
is
Yes.
Spider-Man. Black
Absolutely.
Spider-Man.
Absolutely. You have any pets?
Yes. Well, sort of. We have joint custody with my sister, but it's my dog Cooper when we were growing up.
Awesome.
It's really my sister's dog. If she sees it, she'll be mad. It's my sister's dog. Spends half of his time in my house, though.
That's funny. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, a night.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate
too.
the morning.
Me too. All right. So, favorite way to communicate: text, call, or FaceTime?
FaceTime. I randomly FaceTime people at night sometimes when I'm like friends that I haven't spoken to in a while.
Yeah.
And I love FaceTime.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Do you have a nickname that you can share?
Not really. All my friends
Okay.
call me my name. The only nickname I have is my mom and my grandma and my aunt call me Cheech.
Okay.
And the reason why is because they always said I look like an artist called Chichi Peralta, who's like an Afro, I think he might be Colombian or Puerto Rican artist. And they said when I was born I looked like him, but either way.
Oh, that's funny.
Chichi.
And so you said you like to cook.
Yeah.
What's your favorite dish to cook?
Well, probably risotto. The reason why is it's so therapeutic to make, and like it's really a blank canvas. You can kind of make it into whatever you want. But during lockdown, I wanted to like gain a new skill, and I had always loved cooking anyway. So I paid money and I took this like legit cooking course online, and I had this like certificate from it that I did during lockdown where it was all online.
Oh, cool.
So if this doesn't work out, I could go be not a chef, but I could be like a line cook in a restaurant.
Okay. So we have, I don't know, I think you could be a chef. So we have
No.
a cooking, drumming, member of Congress, making history, making people
Thank you.
laugh, and making a big impact. So thank you for
Thank you.
joining
I
us.
appreciate
I'm
it.
so excited to work with you every
Yeah.
day, and look forward to serving together for a long time.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Thank
so
you.
much.
See you guys next time.